The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Josh Ellsworth with Stahl's Cad-Cut Direct, and I'll be presenting the webinar today, 5 Ways to Print Apparel with Foil, put on by Great Garment Graphics. We have a really good crowd today, and I thank you, everybody, for coming on. I know a lot of you had attended the webinar last week on digitally printing apparel and 5 ways to do that, so hopefully you enjoyed that and you're back for some more. Start this off the same way I started last week with a couple poll questions. You only have 2 questions to answer today, and so we'll go ahead and start with those. And Allison, if you don't mind launching the first question. Okay, and the question is, are you decorating apparel with foil as of today? And about 80% of the audience has voted, so we'll give you a couple more seconds. We still have some people logging in as well. 85% of the audience voted, so if you can go ahead and share those results. Looks like 82% are a no. They aren't decorating apparel with foil, and 18% currently are. Great. And then one other quick question. We'll just do these back to back. And this particular question is, which of the following equipment do you own? Which of the following equipment do you own? And be sure to select all that apply. Hopefully it's set up so you can select multiple answers here. %60 voted, and so far we have 98% with heat press. Keep voting, guys. Mark all that apply. Give you about 5 to 10 more seconds. And we'll go ahead and close off this poll. And so it looks like 25% screen printing. 99% of those who voted own a heat press. 82% cutter. And 51% a color laser printer or color laser copier. Wonderful. The reason we ask those questions, it's because these are the primary output devices and the primary pieces of equipment that are required to decorate apparel with foil. And today we're going to go through 5 different methods, some that utilize a vinyl cutter, some that utilize screen printing, some that just utilize a heat press. The thing that all of these methods have in common is they do require a heat press. So for that 1% of the folks that voted that don't own a heat press as of today, if you want to start incorporating foil into your decorating techniques, you're going to need a heat press. And the beautiful thing about this presentation, if you're one of those that just have a heat press only and none of this other equipment, you're still going to be able to implement printing with foil onto apparel. So you'll see the pros and cons of various different methods, but let's go ahead and get started with the first way to print apparel with foil. And that is the basic cad-cut foil-like product. So in each slide you'll see a workflow, and the basic workflow for cad-cut, it requires a vinyl cutter. And the process is you need to cut the design out of a roll of heat-applied film, you need to weed away the excess, and you need to heat apply it. Here at Stahl's Cad-Cut Direct, we manufacture 2 different types of foil products that can be fed through a vinyl cutter, and we brand them as Fashion Film Metallic 2, which are solid colors of metallic/foils, and then also Cad-Cut Hologram, which is the photo you see here that has the really sparkly, shiny sort of foil finish to it. I think the best thing to do is to, we're going to jump in and out of some videos throughout the presentation today, and we'll jump into a video that shows you the cad-cut process for cutting and heat applying these 2 types of foil. So I got this one queued up already. As you can see, I'm loading a roll into the vinyl cutter, and I'll play this video. And hopefully this is showing up on your screen here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you can see the vinyl cutter cuts it, and then you'll need to weed away the excess material with a weeding tool. So you cut it in a mirror image, and you'll pull away the excess. In this case, on this garment, I'm using a hologram material, as you see in the photo there, being weeded, and also the metallic. I'm going to preheat my garment, and then, of course, follow the application instructions to heat apply it. Press the first color down. And then I'm going to line up my second image here. And I'm going to position this and press it down. Now, as you're following along in the presentation today, if you have questions on any of these methods, I can kind of keep an eye on the questions as I'm presenting here. So you can go ahead and type those into the question box and ask them. But you can see now this has been cut. I'll pause the screen for you momentarily. You can kind of see a freeze frame of me pulling away the Mylar backing and leaving the foil behind. So a cad-cut material, it comes in a roll, and it basically has, for foil, it has 4 layers. It has the Mylar backing, then it has the foil material, it has a coating to give it some rigidness so it can cut and weed, and then it has the adhesive backing that allows it to adhere to the garment. So after you cut, weed away the excess, and press it down, you basically still have the 3 layers on the garment, the adhesive, the foil, and then a top coating that is needed for it to be able to be cut and weeded. So you have a design on the garment that isn't as soft as possible for a foil process, but you get the vibrancy, you get something that you can incorporate with just a vinyl cutter, and it's pretty simple to cut graphics and apply them. And so I'll let you finish the rest of the video here, and the bottom is the metallic too that has that mirror-like finish. Now, since this foil has the sort of top coating, the cad-cut foil, you won't be able to press it again to really get it to embed in the garment. It kind of sits on top of the garment and maintains that mirror-like vibrant quality. And later when we look at different print techniques for foil, you'll see how we can cover the foil with a cover sheet and hit it one more time to get it to embed more into the garment. Just some questions that came up. Should I use a cover sheet with the Mylar carrier? Sometimes I see it being used and sometimes not. And the answer, I get this question on every single webinar, is a lot of people will recommend you use the cover sheet all the time for every application, just to prevent things from getting on your heater of your heat press, and that certainly won't hurt anything, and it's a good precautionary thing to do. If you watch any of my videos, I really only use a cover sheet when I absolutely need to, because I don't like to use one if I don't need it, but you do need to have some experience and some knowledge of when you need it and when you do not. The Mylar carrier kind of acts as your cover sheet in this instance. So I'll play this, and then also, Rebecca, I see your questions on how many washes will this last, and we're going to cover that here momentarily. I want to hold that answer for a moment because that's going to vary depending on each technique. So you can see that's our completed garment using the cad-cut foil method. So if you have a vinyl cutter, you can begin to implement this right away. You look at the 1, 2, 3 there in the middle of the screen. This is a very easy workflow. This can be used as a foreground layer, meaning you cannot put cad-cut foil on top of cad-cut foil for durability reasons. But if you want to use it as a foreground, say, to another heat-applied film or another product applied on the garment, you can use it on top, and it's very easy. As I mentioned before, this is comprised of one additional layer than some of the other foil methods that I'll show you, so it is slightly thicker. Okay. From a cost standpoint, I think that's an important question. When you look at this, the hologram material, if you break down our cost online, it costs you about $1.29 per square foot. So a 12 by 12 design would be $1.29 per square foot for the hologram finish. The metallic 2 finish would be about $1.86 per square foot for the standard foil-like finish. So it is pretty affordable to create a garment this way. Okay, let's move along here. Foil does dull the blade a little quicker than other materials. The next process that I want to tell you about is one that I really like and one that gives you a softer finish on the garment. And that's the real difference between this process and the one we just looked at with the standard cad-cut product already assembled, ready to cut. With this process, you use a cad-cut adhesive product and a heat transfer foil. So if you go to the Stahl's website, you can find a product called Cadcut Thermo adhesive, and it's basically an adhesive, just an adhesive mounted to a paper backing. Comes 28 inches wide, so you may have to trim it down for use on your cutter, but you can cut this adhesive in a mirror image, weed away the excess, and then heat apply it down to the garment as a base. So those of you that own screen printing equipment and screen print foil, you're probably familiar here that the traditional way to use foil is to screen print an adhesive base or a plastisol base down to the garment, and then use a product called heat transfer foil on top of that, and when you press it, it only sticks to the adhesive. So the workflow is cut it, weed it, heat it for the Thermo adhesive product, and then the heat transfer foil you overlay on top, and then you heat press it again. So let's show you a quick video of this process. And so you can see this is the paper adhesive that's being cut on the cutter here in a mirror image, and I'm just cutting the word cheer 4 times, and then I'm going to go ahead and peel away the excess material. Go in and pull out the cavities. You definitely want to have a well-lit area since you're looking at clear on white. Sometimes it may be tough to see. And trim apart the design. If you're not getting the video, it may be because of your connection speed. I'm actually sitting here in a room with 2 of my coworkers, and I'm able to see it on both of their computers, and both of them have the video popping up right now as we play it. So if you're not getting the video, it may be because of a connection speed. And you got it now. Thank you. Okay, so I'm heat pressing down the Thermo adhesive first for a few seconds. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I've preheated the garment, and then I position my Thermo adhesive design face down. And then I'm going to let that cool for a few seconds, and then I'm going to remove the backing. And basically, this just gives me my clear adhesive on the garment, very sticky, so you won't want to lock the heat press down right on top of this. After this, I take my roll of heat transfer foil. Now, you see that in the photo. That's a 12-inch wide by 200-foot roll of heat transfer foil. And Stahl's just started selling this. I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago. We made this available for sale in 14 colors. This foil, you'll see it several times today. It can be used as the top layer for our Thermo adhesive. It can be used on a transfer paper I'm going to show you shortly. This is also the same heat transfer foil that they use to put over top of screen printed foil garments. So if you're utilizing any foil application where you're printing an adhesive base first, you can start sourcing the heat transfer foil from us. We have very competitive pricing. So you can see I'm going to trim a sheet off here, comparable to the size of my design on the garment. And then I'm going to position it down on top of the print. Lock the press down on it for 5 to 7 seconds. Lift up, and then I'm going to let this cool completely. Lay it to the side, let it cool completely before I remove the backing. That's going to give time for the foil to set up on the adhesive. When I remove it away, I'll pause it there for a second. You can see how it's just pulling the foil out where it adheres to the adhesive. So that's the goal. So basically, in the last step, we had 3 layers, remember? In this, we only have 2 layers, so you get a much thinner, much softer result. Also, from an inventory standpoint, you can stock adhesive. Obviously, it's not committed to any color of foil, and then you can inventory a lot of different colors of foil very inexpensively, because the 12-inch by 200-foot rolls are $25 to $30 for your basic colors. And then when you go up to some of the special effects that you'll see here shortly, it goes from $45 to $90, but still more cost effective than inventorying rolls of the cad-cut material. So I peel that away, and then I have a finished garment. This particular product, the Thermo adhesive, costs, when you break it down, about 79 cents per square foot. When you add the heat transfer foil to that, the heat transfer foil costs about a dime per square foot. So altogether, you're producing a graphic on a garment for 89 cents per square foot. If you remember the comparison I gave last time for the metallic 2, it was $1.86 per square foot. So you can see it's much more cost effective to cut the adhesive, apply it down, then overlay the foil, especially if you're doing single color designs. Is this a heavy pressure? This is a medium to a firm pressure, absolutely. Do you heat it again after you put the foil on? Good question. You can see I have a very gloss finish here. I'm going to show you 2 photos later how you can change the effect with this process. You can have the very vibrant foil finish, or you can have more of a low luster embedded into the garment finish if you cover it with a cover sheet and heat it for an additional 5 to 10 seconds. I have a great photo comparing that. Okay, can this be ironed? That's weird. I don't actually know that answer. I wouldn't suggest it. I would probably put something over top of it to iron it, or iron it inside out. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next step. As far as washability, I want to go back to that question. Any of these foils, any foil application, period, I don't care if it's screen printed foil, cad-cut foil, the foil 2-step process with the adhesive, the durability is not going to be outlasting the garment. Basically, foil products are a hang-dry recommendation and machine wash cold inside out. If you follow those instructions, you should see a couple dozen washes before you start to see small little pieces of foil flake away. It's not, in my opinion, it wears very nicely as long as you don't dry it on high heat. Okay, so as far as this process, basically we get great foil coverage, good for basic designs because you won't want to cut too much detail with that thermo adhesive. It's really soft, and you have versatility of a number of effects, which we'll show you later with doing some unique two-tone styles that you can't do with a single color cad-cut hologram or cad-cut metallic 2 roll. The next way to get foil onto a garment is by utilizing a laser printer paper called Exact Print, and then utilizing the same heat transfer foil overlay roll that we just saw. With this, the process is you're going to print a design on this transfer paper. We're going to heat press that onto the garment. Then we're going to overlay the foil of choice, and we're going to heat press that as well. For this, you need the Exact Print laser transfer paper, which is sold at stalls.com, and you need the same heat transfer foil. Now, the advantage here really is the amount of detail that you can do, and also the easy workflow. There's no cutting and no weeding. So let me bring up a video and show you this process. And we'll do the Superbike design here. Give me 1 second. There we go. Should all be seeing that now. So this piece of paper that you see on the screen, I've printed that on a color laser printer, or you can just do a black toner laser printer, because really all you need to do is be able to print black on the paper. So the magic here is all in the paper. When you print this design and you heat transfer it on, you don't have to trim it or cut it or weed it like normal transfer paper. If you attended the webinar last week, you know that with Exact Print, only the print adheres to the shirt. So you print this in a mirror image, and then you'll see me place it on the shirt and heat apply. After it's pressed, you're going to let it cool for about 5 to 10 seconds. It needs that time to set up properly on the garment. And then you're going to remove the backing. And as you can see, the print is no longer on the sheet. You actually see a pinkish area where the print used to be. Now the print has transferred. All the black toner is transferred over to my garment. This has to be a laser printer. It cannot be an inkjet printer. So I'm going to flatten my design out again, and you can kind of see if you look real closely, I don't know how it looks on your screen, but you can kind of see where the toner's on that black garment. You see a little bit of a sheen difference. So I'm going to take my heat transfer foil, this time in the color red, and I'm going to lay it directly over top of the print. And I'm going to use a cover sheet this time. You don't have to use a cover sheet on the foil. Sometimes it's helpful because after you press it, if the edges of the foil roll up before it cools down, it's not going to stick to those areas of the print where it rolled up. So if you use a cover sheet, you give yourself some safety that it's all going to stay flat against the print until it has a chance to cool down. So once again, I'm going to press it for 5 to 7 seconds. I'm going to take the whole garment, throw it to the side, and we'll let it cool down, and you'll see me peel it here momentarily. Now when you peel it, you can see where it only stuck to the print. Now something else, if you look close at this foil sheet, you'll kind of see on the areas where the foil is missing, it's not 100% clean coverage of the foil. You get a little bit better coverage when you're applying foil to the Thermo adhesive base. But with this, you still get a good coverage, something that's sellable, and it cuts out the cutting and the weeding part of the process. And you can see how much detail there is there. You can use exact print on cotton or polyester-based garments. You need to find a laser printer that can feed exact print through it. We have a list of recommended printers on the website under the exact print application instructions. We use the Okidata printers. There's a number of models, but we found that to have the most durable toner. If you already have a laser printer, you can actually request samples of exact print to run it through, or you can buy a 50-pack for about $37. Cannot use an inkjet printer. And to jump back a second, just answering some questions here, the adhesive I used with the foil was Thermo adhesive. And that looks like most of the questions so far. So you can see the final result. And once again, easy workflow, great detail, less labor, super, super soft. And this is great for distressed prints or two-tone prints, which is one of the foil printing techniques I'll show you shortly after we go through all the processes. I'm going to go through some different print types. Can you use this process on zip-up sweatshirts going across the front because it's not completely flat? Will that still work? I don't have a good answer. You'll probably have to test. Usually on a zip-up, we would recommend using a Teflon pillow. But foil is an application that, and the transfer paper, the exact print, requires a firm pressure. And usually when you use a Teflon pillow, you can't generate a firm pressure. So I think you'd probably have issues with doing this across the zipper on a zip-up hoodie, but I haven't tested it. Okay. So the next method I want to talk about, this is the fourth method if you're counting along. This is the method of direct screen printing the adhesive and then adding the heat transfer foil. Now I didn't queue up a video on this because I don't have screen printing equipment here, but you can find these on YouTube if you just type in screen printed foil process. But basically let me outline it for you if you can follow along closely here for a minute. The first step is you burn your screen. The next step, after you have your screen burned and loaded into your screen printing press, is you're going to print the adhesive or the foil receptive, which is the adhesive, onto the garment by dragging the squeegee. After you've printed the foil on all of your garments, you're going to run it through a curing process where you're going to feed it through a conveyor belt dryer to cure the print, just like you would with screen printing. After you cure it, you're going to take it back to the heat press. You're going to use that same heat transfer foil roll that we showed on the last two videos. You're going to overlay that on top of your printed shirt, and you're going to heat press it on for the same 5 to 7 seconds, just like you did for the other processes. And really, that's going to give you the same finished garment as you generate with the exact print paper or the Thermo adhesive cut material. The difference is, when you're screen printing garments, we know the advantages of those that are heat pressing. It's good for low to mid-sized quantities. When you screen print, we're talking about high volumes. It becomes more cost effective because we're paying $25 to burn a screen, and then the cost of each garment gets amortized over the cost of the screen. So 10 pieces cost $2.50 a print. We know from our last process where we used the Thermo adhesive that it cost me about 89 cents for that print. So I need to get up into the 50 to 100 piece quantity before it makes it more cost effective to use the screen printing process with foil. But once again, high volumes, you can do great detail just like the exact print transfer paper process. The point of investment's a little higher for screen printing equipment if you don't have any equipment today and just want to get into it. And then the minimums required. You need to get into a high volume process. Maybe this webinar could have been titled 6 Ways to Print Foil based on a question that just came in, asking about what about a DTG process. I just attended the Columbus trade show last weekend, and I did notice a couple booths where they're using the heat transfer foil on top of DTG prints. I grabbed a couple shirts, tried to do it myself, didn't have good success, and it's probably because I'm not familiar with the process. So I can't show you that today, but I do know that some of the vendors selling direct-to-garment printers were showing a white ink printed application and then transferring the heat transfer foil on top of that. But with the cost of white ink, I'd imagine it might get pretty expensive to decorate a garment. But yet, that's something else to look at if you have a direct-to-garment printer. If you didn't catch the whole webinar, don't worry. It will be posted on the Great Garment Graphics site in its entirety for review. The last method I want to talk about, and this is a real exciting one, is for those of you just with the heat press, I told you you're going to be able to do foil applications. And you can. Through our Transfer Express division, you can order screen printed transfers that you can apply the heat transfer foil rolls on top of. So the basic process is you order the transfer, you heat press it on, you overlay the foil, and then you heat press the foil on. And so this is a really easy workflow. It gives you the ability of pretty much doing the screen printed foil process without having the screen printing equipment, since Transfer Express screen prints onto a carrier sheet and you fully cure it to the garment by heat pressing it. So your only investment is a heat press. And just to give you a breakdown, once again, there's a cost of a screen that goes into making the transfer. So you want to get up to a certain quantity before this starts to make financial sense over cutting it yourself or printing it on paper yourself. If it's a Transfer Express stock design, 50 pieces, sizes of a square foot roughly, you're looking at $1.66 a print plus the dime you have in foil. Up in 100 pieces, it's $1.30. 500 pieces, it's 66 cents. So you can see the cost starts to go down as you go up in quantity. If it's your design, the prices are a little bit more for that because you're dealing with custom artwork that they're designing if it's not something out of their book. But there'll be much more info coming out on that soon from Transfer Express, but that's another way you can decorate with foil. Okay. Lots of questions coming in. I'm going to keep moving and just try to take these as I see ones that that I can answer quickly, and I'll try to come back at the end to clean a lot of these up. Okay, so now we've talked about 5 different ways to decorate with foil, to print apparel with foil. Now you get the bonus section today, and we're going to talk about 5 foil printing techniques. So a lot of these techniques can be implemented with any process that you choose that we just went over. Some are only compatible with certain processes, so I'll try to highlight those as we go through. And the 5 techniques that we're going to cover are this. We're going to talk about the single color bright print or luster print. We talked about that a little earlier. We're going to talk about how to create a distress print, how to do a multicolor print like you see the Superbikes design with a 2-tone graphic. We're going to talk about the cheer design, where you can do foil on top of a clear gel or a clear adhesive. And then we're going to talk about a really cool technique and show you a video called a patterned foil print or an inlaid foil print. You may have already seen this if you've followed the YouTube video that we emailed out a while back. First is the bright foil finish. So pay close attention to this garment. This basically was the Cadcut adhesive, the Thermo adhesive, with foil pressed on it with a single step. We didn't put it back under the heat press after we applied the foil, and you can see the type of shine we get on the print and the bright foil finish. You can do this bright foil finish with any of the processes that we've shown today, with all 5 of them. Now the next photo that I'm going to show you is the exact same garment, but we pressed it for an additional 5 to 10 seconds. Now you see how it looks like the foil's embedded down into the fabric of the garment, and it's more of a low luster finish. Also, this gives me, in my opinion, this gives me a better feeling about the durability because it looks like it's embedded down more into the garment. And this luster foil finish you can do with any of the processes except for the Cadcut foil process, since it has the extra top coat layer on it that doesn't allow us to really drive it down into the garment and give it this sort of luster finish. But if you're using thermo adhesive, screen printing, screen printed transfers, or the exact print paper process, you can achieve this finish. Distress foil finish. So if you want to do a distress graphic, I'll show you a, I think I have a video of this one. I have one video that'll cover this finish and the next finish, where basically we put the adhesive base down first, whether that's a transfer, thermo adhesive, an exact print, or screen printing, and then we crumble up the foil color, the overlay sheet, into a ball to create gap areas in it, and then flatten it back out before pressing it. And basically it creates a distress graphic across the whole print. Every design will be different because you can't crumble it and line it up the same every time. The multicolor foil finish. And this is where we do the distress print. So this is the same New York design that was distressed, but instead of leaving it as a distress print, I took a solid piece of gold heat transfer foil and lined it up right on top and pressed it directly over. Now what that did is it filled all of the void areas that were originally the black base or the clear foil base that weren't printed, the adhesive base that wasn't printed. So let me show you that, that video. It's this two-tone one. Start with preheating the garment. In this case, I'm using the exact print transfer paper that I've printed with the Super Bike design you saw earlier. I'm going to press that on for 30 seconds, let it cool for 5 to 10 seconds, and come in and remove the backing. Now you want to make sure with the exact print that you have a perfectly flat area. If you're having problems with maybe some excess polymer transferring to the garment, you may not have a completely even pressure on your print area. Also, you may be taking a little too long to peel if polymer is staying, that polymer window is staying, not just the print. So you see how I crumbled that purple foil up in a ball? And I'm going to lay that down just kind of loosely over top, and I'm going to lock the press right over the crumbled up piece of foil for 5 to 7 seconds. I need to let that cool down, and then I'm going to remove it. So you can see, this is how you create a distress print. If I wanted to stop here, I have a distress print. But if I want to add a second color to the mix to make it a two-tone print, what am I going to do? First, I'm going to charge the customer $2 more to get a two-tone print. And all it involves is me taking another 5 to 7 seconds and another 10 cents to 15 cents in foil and pressing it on and peeling it after it's cooled down. Thermo adhesive will work on any vinyl cutter, any roll style cutter. So it will work on the cheapest $300 cutter to the Roland GX24 to a flatbed cutter. So you can see that's just a really nice two-tone foil graphic that we're able to achieve by using the heat transfer foil overlay sheets. Just glancing back through the questions before I show you the next video. One of the questions that came in, is there a reason why no HP printers are listed for the exact print paper? And the paper will run through HP printers. It's just in our wash test for durability, we found that the durability of the toner on the paper wasn't that great with HPs. Now, if you're using foil as an overlay sheet, you're probably not going to have any issues with inks fading out because the ink's covered up, so you really don't care. But if you're using exact print in its traditional form, where you're printing a photo onto a light-colored garment, and you're using an HP, then you may have some durability concerns with the paper. Okay, I think we're pretty much caught up on questions. The foil, the heat transfer foil, comes in 12 inches by 200-foot rolls. And just to show you a quick color offering, I did some screen captures here. So that's the metallic 2 colors that can be found on the Cadcut Direct website. That's the Cadcut version. Those are the hologram colors, which is also a Cadcut based product. And this is the heat transfer foil color chart for the overlay sheets, 12-inch by 200-foot rolls. A foil shirt, how much would I charge, is a question that came in. So basically, if I did that biker design on a black t-shirt is going to cost me under $3 for a basic black t-shirt. I'm going to have 65 cents in the transfer paper and another 20 cents in the 2 colors of foil. So I have about $4 in the garment. I wouldn't sell that for any less than $15 for a group order and $20 to $30 for a one-off retail order, depending on what you can get from the market that you're selling to in your competition. If you want a very durable foil result, you should look at our Fashion Film Electric lineup. It's a foil-like look. It's not quite as vibrant, quite as metallic-y, but it's a cad-cut just for a vinyl cutter, and the durability is phenomenal on those products. But as I mentioned before, heat transfer foil in general, whether it's a screen-printed foil in a retail store or these looks I'm creating today, isn't going to give you something that's going to outlast the garment. This is foil on a clear gel. So when you screen print this, you'd screen print a gel, and then you'd take the foil and dab it in a ball and dab it on top of the gel while it's still wet, and it would stick only to those areas. Likewise with the Thermo adhesive, you can cut the Thermo adhesive, press it on, and then you can hover the press above the adhesive for about 15 seconds. Be sure not to touch the press on the adhesive because it'll get all over the top of the press. You just want to hover it over the adhesive to get the adhesive wet, and then you can take a ball of foil in whatever color you want. In this scenario, I used rainbow, and you can dab it all over the print to give you a really cool effect. Now, obviously, this is something that you won't want to iron directly onto because we're talking about adhesive on the garment, and you won't want to dry it on high heat. Let me show you a video of this process utilizing the pink zebra. And this is the Thermo adhesive process. For those that missed it earlier, I'll let you watch it again on it cutting and weeding while I answer some questions. The printer does not have to be a color laser printer for the foil process. It can be black only. Foil can be used more than once, especially when you're doing the distressed effect, the overlay sheet, but any areas of foil that have already been removed from the foil transfer sheet obviously aren't going to transfer again. So you can do some unique things. The main thing with the Oki printers is you want to make sure that that it'll feed the paper without jamming. So far we've had good success with most of the Oki printers utilizing a labels to paper weight setting. So you can see I'm pressing the adhesive down on here and peeling it after it's cooled down. Cut it, weed it, heat apply it to give me a base. And then the garment's back on the heat press. I'm just going to hover the press above it for the 10 to 15 seconds. Eventually I'm going to do that here. First I'm going to take the foil, I guess, and roll it up in a ball. to crumble it up to give myself something to dab on the adhesive after it's been remelted. So you can see as I'm taking it and dabbing it against the ink, you can mix and match colors, whatever you want to do here. You can see the foil starts to flake off a little bit on the shirt, so you probably will want to take a lint roller after you've done this process to clean up the shirt, because the foil's flaking away on it. I just simply brushed it off with my hand. Yeah, the Thermo adhesive material is the same one that folks use to back regular material to make it good for applique, for patches and things. So you can see the finished look. It's just something different to show, something different to do, but you can mix and match colors and dab it on the Thermo adhesive after it's applied. Will the foil process work on leather? I guess that would depend on what your base is and if it'll adhere to leather. I think our Thermo adhesive is just for cotton and polyester, but if you could find an adhesive that would adhere to leather, there's no reason why you couldn't use the foil as an extra step on top of that. Okay, so that's that process. And you do want to make sure when you're dabbing the foil against this that you're dabbing the dull side of the foil. That way the color side is up. And so the last thing that I'm going to show you today is creating a predictable pattern with foil. So this is where you take two colors of foil, print out some sort of off-print pattern to combine them together. So for instance, if this was Easter is probably not a good holiday to pick, but let's say St. Patrick's Day, I could do shamrocks inside of the lettering, green lettering with gold shamrocks inside of it. Or if it's for a football team, I could do football helmets in a certain color of foil with an outside color of silver. So you can kind of mix and match. And I want to show you a video of that. And the actual garment that I'm going to show you being created here is this love design where it has a heart pattern. And this one moves forward through pretty quick, so I'm going to pause it and kind of give you step by step. And then at the end of the presentation here, I'm going to navigate you to where you can find all of these products on the Stahl site. So you can see I'm printing on my Oki printer the exact print transfer paper. It's obviously speeded up here. And print out some of my designs. You see my love design, my heart pattern. The first one I'm doing here, this is actually the two-tone effect. So I'll let you see that one more time where I print the base down. This isn't the pattern one yet. This is just the two-tone effect. It was at the beginning of this video where I'm doing a gold. And then you can see I'm coming back in with the silver. And you can see I get a nice little two-tone finish. Now here's the pattern print. So let me back that up for just 1 second here. Wow, I flip it pretty quick. Let me try again. I don't know if that's coming across good there, but you can kind of see where the pattern is. I'm going to press the pattern down onto the garment. This is just a scrap garment that I'm pressing this onto, a scrap piece of cotton. And so I'm doing that DJ pattern. What I'm really going for is to create a template out of this piece of foil. I don't care about this shirt or what the print looks like. I just want the custom piece of foil that's cooling down in the top of your screen on the floor. While that's cooling down, I'm pressing the intended design to the intended garment. So I'm doing this DJ design on the intended garment because this is going to be my main design. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to peel this foil away from my patterned print, and it basically creates a custom foil template. So I'm going for this piece of foil. The shirt I could care less about. That's a scrap shirt. that I've done some other press-offs onto. I'm going for this foil piece. I'm going to take that foil piece, I'm going to line it up and register it over top of my DJ text. Cover it with the cover sheet, make sure it's lined up good. Then I'm going to let it cool down, and I'm going to remove the backing. So you see what's happened here is the foil only sticks where there's foil present. So it creates a pattern out of this whole design where I have the black showing through the foil for a silver and black effect. I could leave it like this, or I could pick a second color of foil to line up over top that's going to fill all of those black areas, which is exactly what I'll do here. And this is all with the exact print paper. And then peel it away, and you can see you have that print inside of the text. And we'll show you that one more time. Now I'm taking that same purple shirt and I'm printing a full heart-filled pattern on the paper. I'm going to put my foil piece on to create my template, this time out of gold. Let that cool down on the top of the screen. I'm going to take my love design, which is the design I want, and press it onto the garment. Peel that away after it's cold. You can see how the heart design is staying on the garment, and I'm getting my custom pattern. So I've created my custom pattern here that I'm overlaying. I'm trying to pause it. This is on our YouTube channel. We'll make this video live as soon as the presentation ends. Line it up and peel it away. Now I can take my piece of silver directly over top, or whatever color I want to add for the hearts, and press it on. When I peel that away, you can see we got a beautiful two-tone design with a predictable pattern inside. Now, of course, you could do this with the Thermo adhesive, with the screen print and transfer, with any of those processes. We just chose to use exact print since it was really good for creating a detailed image rather quickly and easily. The foil cost, I'm getting a couple questions on that. For silver and gold, it's 25 bucks for a roll, 12 inches by 200 feet. For the other basic colors like blue, red, pink, it's $30 a roll. When you go into the rainbow pattern and the silver and gold hologram shatter pattern, it's $45 a roll. And when you get into like the silver oil spill, the pink zebra, it goes up to $90 a roll. But all that's on the website. You can use other colors for the base. If you didn't want to use black ink for this, for instance, on this love shirt, if we were putting this, say, on a white shirt, we could print the love design in red, put gold foil on top of it, and then we'd have a gold foil design with red hearts showing through. For every single garment that you want to decorate, you need to do a print-off pattern of the foil. So those are some of the techniques with printing with foil. So this is a new product for us. You're going to see a lot more videos, a lot more garments decorated with the heat transfer foil using the overlay method. There's just a lot of things you can do. One of the things that I forgot to show during the presentation was the Transfer Express video with the screen printed transfer, which is coincidentally is one of the easiest ways to decorate. Let me see if I can get it to come up here. So I just have the garment here. I have a screen printed transfer that I order in from Transfer Express. Simply preheat the garment, flip it over, and press the base down for 4 to 6 seconds. Peel it away hot. And you can see I ordered this in the silver or gray because I'm applying a silver foil on top. That way if any pieces of foil do flake away, it's just going to show the silver background behind it. But I'm going to lay the silver oil spill on top of it. Press it down for the 5 to 7 seconds. let it cool completely. And after it's cool, remove the backing. It's that simple. What does it cost to do this exact shirt? So that would be, depends on the quantity, but if I ordered that screen printed transfer out of Transfer Express's idea book, let's say it's 50 pieces, it cost me $1.66 per transfer. And then it would cost me about, for a silver oil spill foil, it's going to cost me about 30 cents in foil since it's a more expensive roll, which is going to basically give me a $2 design on a $2 to $3 t-shirt. Okay, so now I promised you I'd show you how to navigate to the products on our website. So I want to take a moment and show that here, stalls.com. And let's give my computer a second to catch up. I will be writing a blog post for Great Garment Graphics directly after this presentation, and I will make sure that there's links to all of the products pages for the different products I've shown during the presentation, because I'm getting a lot of questions on where can I find stuff to buy, and that's a good thing. So I want to make sure that I direct you to the right place. But if I'm going for the transfer foil overlay sheets, I just go to stalls.com. I click on heat transfer paper and go down to heat transfer foils. And it's going to load the screen for me here. And you can see you get a brief little description. Price is starting at $25 a roll, and you can click the how-to video or click for the color offering. If I want to buy the exact print paper, I click on laser transfer papers. And you can see exact prints, the first product listed there. If you want to order the cad-cut hologram and that sort of thing, you can go to the heat transfer materials link, cad-cut materials for your vinyl cutter, and they'll be under that page. Likewise, if you want to order the thermo adhesive, it's under heat transfer materials by the yard. So if I go to materials by the yard, and I scroll down here to the special effects category, I can find thermo adhesive right here. And it'll give you all of the information for it. The thermo adhesive currently only comes in 28-inch width. So GX24, you're right, is only 24-inch wide. So basically what I do is I cut the roll in half and feed it by the yard through the cutter. Okay, so this will conclude our presentation today. The next webinar you can find on greatgarmentgraphics.com, the whole schedule for April and May already. And we'll be giving more presentations in May, sponsored by Cadcut Direct, but the next webinar is April 14th. So be sure to join in on that. Hopefully you all enjoyed the presentation. We had a great crowd, and go ahead back to your business and try to catch up a little bit on what you missed. Thanks for watching.